And if my parents watch this video, I'm screwed, but whatever, it's okay. It was an experience, it was fun. I'm young, I'm living, I do this stuff. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Hey chickies! So today I am back with another storytime video for you all. I have not done a storytime video in such a long time and I apologize for it completely. The reason I haven't done a storytime video in such a long time is because I was doing so many of them that I didn't want to take away from the beauty aspect of my channel too, so I figured I'd slow down and do some tutorials and some reviews and everything like that. Of course I'm going to continue doing those types of videos and story times at the same time, but I kind of want to just balance them out. But I am back with one of my craziest story times ever. This story time literally happened within the span of 5 hours, and that kind of seems like a long time, but when I explain it, you'll understand. If you guys enjoyed this story time throughout, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up and stay subscribed to my channel. I upload Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. East, and if you enjoy all my story times, then subscribe and you'll get updates and stuff like that. So obviously I think the title sounds very appealing, so I want to hop right into this video, so let's get started. Okay, so honestly, I don't even know where to start with the story time. I guess I'll start with like a couple days prior to the story time, so I give you guys some background information. So basically a couple days before this happened on a Friday night, but a couple days prior to this, basically I was texting one of my really good friends. Let's call this man Matt, because obviously I don't use real names in my story times. So basically I'm texting my friend Matt, and me and Matt have never met in person before, even though he only lives 30 minutes away from me on Long Island. We just never met. So randomly we're texting and we're like, you know what? Why don't we go to New York City on Friday? Literally it was the most random thing in the world. Hey, let's go into the city and just walk around and visit the tree and everything, because it was around Christmas time. He was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And that was literally the set plans is okay, Friday, he was gonna pick me up right after school. We're gonna go into the city for a couple hours, hang out, do whatever, and then I come home. And then when I came home, I was gonna go sleep at my friend's house. Hopping now to Friday. Friday comes, I'm in school, whatever. I get out of school, and here's the thing. My parents had no idea I was going into the city with this guy. I knew that if I told them randomly hey, I'm going into New York City with my friend or whatever that they have never met and I have never even met, that they would say no. And I didn't want to take that risk, so I just didn't tell them. I get home from school and he gets to my house literally 20 minutes later. My mom was sleeping on the couch, and then when I started to walk out the door, because I was kind of sneaking out right after school, it was about I don't know 2:30 at this point. I get all my stuff together really quickly, and my plan was that I was gonna tell my mom there's this mall on Long Island and it is called Roosevelt Field, and it's kind of far out from me, so I was just gonna tell her that I was going there with him, and she would be like, okay, it's just a mall, it's not New York City, because she'll get freaked out if I go an hour away into the city, but she won't get freaked out if I go 50 minutes away to this mall. It makes no sense. It's a 10-minute difference, but whatever. I'm walking out and my mom wakes up from her sleep on the couch. She's like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I'm going to Roosevelt with my friends. And yeah, kind of bullshitting my way through this. She's like, oh, okay, and stuff, and she was really sus about it, and she knew that I was being sus. So basically, she says whatever she has to say, and then I just kind of okay, yeah, whatever, bye, and then just get out of the house, and then I get in his car and just leave. Obviously, I was not being catfished. I knew this guy personally before. We FaceTimed, we Skyped, mutual friends, stuff like that, so I knew who was picking me up. It wasn't one of those creepy things. Nothing bad happens with him, trust me. The storyline that I told my mom is that I'm going to this mall with Matt, which is the guy that picked me up, and another one of my friends, and we were picking up one of my friends while we were there. So basically it's called these two girls, Sam and Cat. Isn't that the characters on that show, Sam and Cat? Anyways, so let's call them Sam and Cat. So basically what she thought we were doing is that Matt was gonna pick me up, we would go pick up Sam, and then we were gonna drive out to this mall and meet up with our friend Kat, and then it would be all four of us hanging out, shopping around and everything. And then later in the day, Matt would drive all three of us back to Sam's house and we were gonna sleep over. But of course, that wasn't the actual plan. The actual plan was that me and Matt were driving to the train station, going on the train, going to the city for the night, coming home, and then he would drop me at Sam's house. And when I got to Sam's house, Kat would already be there, and so would our other friend, Jess. I don't know, I'm trying to come up with names, guys, just bear with me. That's what my mom thought was going on, was like that whole mall thing, and obviously it was something completely different. So yeah, what happens is, you know, Matt picks me up, we like greet each other like, hey, nice to meet you, whatever, and then we go to the train station near my house and we buy our train tickets and we get on the train to go to Penn Station, which is obviously New York City. Anyways though, moving on. So basically we buy the train tickets or whatever, we get onto the train, and you know, we were like kind of awkward at first, I think, because like we never actually met in person. We didn't talk that much prior, but we knew who each other were and like everything like that. So we're on the train, you know, we're like getting used to each other, kind of just talking and stuff like that. And we didn't really have any like set plan. We were just gonna like, you know, go into the city and walk around. We were gonna like see the tree or whatever, or go into some park, Bryant Park, we were gonna go into, and that was that. Basically what happens is, you know, my mom is like texting me, like I'm on the train, she's texting me, she's like, hey, are you at the mall yet? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Finally we get off the train, we're in the city, we go pee, and then, because you gotta go pee when you get off the train, you don't use the bathroom on the train. Those so disgusting. Go pee before and after. Anyways, moving on from pee situations. So we get off the train, we're in Penn Station, we go pee, we walk out of Penn Station, and basically we're just like walking around or whatever, and we go to Bryant Park and we're like walking around, and it was Christmas time, so you know, they had like the ice skating rink there and all the little shops, and it's literally like so gorgeous there in the winter time. Like if you guys ever get the chance to go to New York City, definitely go to Bryant Park in the winter. It is gorgeous. So yeah. Luckily I have the advantage of being an hour away from the city because I live on Long Island, so I can kind of like go there whenever I want and everything, and it's kind of cheap. So that's a good thing about, you know, living in New York, living in Long Island. So we're like walking around really hungry, whatever. We go to Chipotle and we sit down, we eat, I charge into my card, comes up New York City in my bank account. My parents didn't know. I'm such a great influence, really. I really am. Please don't be like me when you're older. Anyways, moving on. So after Chipotle, I don't even know what happened. Like we just talked so much and clicked with like so many things. So we were just like walking around New York City, freaking sipping on our Coca-Cola, just like having a grand old time, just like walking around, you know, chilling. And we're walking past H&M, and then my phone goes off. My phone goes off. And it is my mother, and she is calling me. And I am sitting there like, no, my mom is calling me. This can't get any worse. So I was like, oh crap. By the way, Matt had literally no idea that I snuck out of my house and that my parents had no clue I was going to the city. He just thought that I was allowed to go to the city. He was like, whatever. So he had no idea. So literally I had to explain this to him when I was on the phone with my mom. So basically, back to the story. Okay, so basically, like I said, there was an H&M nearby. So I grab Matt's like wrist. I just literally grab him and just, I'm like, we gotta go in here. And I just drag him into H&M because it was like literally like dead silent in there. So I just drag him in there, and so I answer the phone, and obviously, like I said, it's my mom. And I'm like, hi mom, like, yikes. And my mom was getting super suspicious, and I don't know how I pulled this next part off, but I did somehow. So let me explain it to you. I was on the phone, she's like, hi Christina, I'm like, hey ma, whatever. And she's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm in Roosevelt Field. What are you talking about? And she's just like, and who are you with? And I'm like, oh, I'm with Matt and Sam and Kat, you know, we met up with Kat, and now we're in H&M and we're shopping around and everything. And then she's like, are you really with Sam and Kat? And I'm like, yeah. And then she goes, I would like to speak to Sam if you don't mind. And in my head, I am like, great, but out of my mouth, I was like, okay, like no problem. I'm like to my mom, I'm like, hold on a second, she's in the dressing room, let me get her. And so then what I did is I put my phone on mute, I put it down like on my pants just in case, and then I turned to Matt and I'm like, should probably explain something to you. He's like, what is going on? And like, he was really confused. So I basically explained to him, you know, like, my mom doesn't know I'm here right now. Like, she has no idea, and she thinks I'm with two of my other friends at a mall that's closer to us. And what's funny too is, like, literally a couple minutes before my mom calls me and him are debating on taking the earlier train back or the later train back. So when this happened, we were like, okay, that concludes that. We're taking the earlier one back so I don't get screwed. So then basically I'm like, how am I going to mimic my friend's voice? Like, how am I going to mimic Sam's voice? Because Sam has like this very like high-pitched kind of like childish voice. When like you talk to her on the phone, she kind of sounds like a child. So I literally get off mute, I pick up the phone, I'm like, Deb, oh my god, hi, and stuff like that, because my friend gets so excited talking to my mom. I don't know why, but I literally completely just mimicked the way she talks, she sounds, the way she would talk to my mom, how she called my mom Deb, like literally exact, like on point mimicking. So my mom's like, oh, hi Sam, how are you? And Sam is like, oh, you know, I'm good, whatever. And then my mom's just like, oh, where are you guys? Like, how are you guys doing? And then Sam is like, oh, we're doing great. We're at the mall, blah, 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 blah. And then my mom's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were fine and stuff. Could you give the phone back to Christina? And she was like, and Sam was like, yeah, of course, blah, blah. And then Sam goes, oh, so here's Christina. And then what I do is I put the phone down for a second. I'm like, 1, 2. Hello. My mom's like, all right, I just wanted to make sure you were fine. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, Mom. And she was like, all right, have fun tonight. I'm like, okay, bye, bye. Hang up the phone. Literally right after I get off the phone with her, I call my friend Sam, and she knew what was going on. Sam knew exactly what was going on because like I told her, like, you know, I'm going to the city with this guy and now I'm gonna come sleep at your house. So I call her, I'm like, you will never guess what I just did. And she was like, what? And I told her the entire story about me mimicking her, and she was laughing so hard. So that was such a funny experience, but I thought in that moment, like, that was the end of me. And probably it will be the end of me after I post this video, but it's okay. Right after that, Matt is like, all right, well, we should start heading back to Penn Station because we kind of need to get on the train and go back. Otherwise, you are going to maybe sort of kind of be screwed. And I'm like, no, that's a really good idea, so let's go and do that. Me and him are like running for our lives back into Penn Station, and of course, I had to pick up Krispy Kreme because we don't have Krispy Kreme around here, and the closest one is in Penn Station, so we're literally running, and I'm like, hold up, wait, and he's like, what? And I'm like, the Krispy Kreme. We get the donuts, and we run to the train, and we get on the train, and we're good. So then we go all the way back to the train station or whatever, and I was telling my mom in that moment, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going home from the mall, and she was like, okay, whatever. Me and Matt, we get all the way back to the train station, we get in the car, and I'm like, yeah, so you need to drop me at my friend's house because I'm like sleeping there tonight. Yeah, kind of not going home. Don't think that's a good idea. And he was like, all right, that's fine, blah, blah, blah. So basically he drives me to my friend's house. I say goodbye to him, whatever. So now I'm at Sam's house, and at Sam's house, Kat is already there and Jess is already there because they're having a sleepover or whatever. And then I showed up and I had my Krispy Kreme or whatever. I was like, I brought us Krispy Kreme, guys. So literally I get in the house or whatever, and you know, everything's chill and you know, we're having a good time or whatever. And so part 1 of this story is like complete because part 1 obviously is what's it called? Part 1 was the whole city thing that happened. And now this is part 2. And this is where the night gets even more hectic.